Hey everyone, I'm Joe, and today I'm going to be doing the end of year book tag. This tag was originally created by Ariel Bissett, and I was tagged to do this only very recently, within the last few weeks, by Emily Kate. I will link both their channels in the description box below, of course. Now, the idea of the tag is very simple. It is essentially about how you go from the sort of summer and autumn into the very end of the year, exactly as the tag sounds, frankly. And as there are only 6 questions for it, I'll get straight into talking about the questions, because otherwise this tag is going to be unnecessarily long. Question 1 is, are there any books you started this year that you really need to finish? And for this, I'm taking it to mean series rather than individual books, because I will finish an individual book within the next few months, obviously. But the one main series that I want to finish, and it won't take me that long, is the Sherlock Holmes and Mary Russell series by Laurie R. King. These are the only 3 books in the series that I have to read. These are the 2 full-length novels, and this one is the short story collection. So this really isn't going to take me long at all. I mean, to be honest, I'll probably finish them probably either this month or in November, but we'll see what happens. Question 2 is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? And frankly, no, I don't. And I actually found the idea of a sort of autumnal book, or indeed any seasonal reading, to be frankly strange to me personally, because I've never read books based on their season or anything like that. I just read books based on if they interest me at that moment. And indeed, that's what I've always thought of as being the case with basically everybody pre-joining BookTube. Obviously, since joining BookTube, I've now realised that some people actually do themed reading almost all year round, depending on when it is, which I find odd personally. But it's each to their own. And if that works for you and gets you enthusiastic about reading, then by all means do that, because more reading is better, frankly. Obviously. Question 3 is there a new release you're still waiting for? And frankly, at this point, there really isn't very much left that I know is coming out. I mean, there probably is going to be books released that I may be interested in, but as you may or may not know, I don't generally keep up to date on every single new release as and when they're coming out. I know roughly when they're coming out, but not exactly. I know sort of probably the year and sort of maybe what half of the year they're in. Other than that, I'm not normally that up to date. However, the one book that I know has just been released about a month ago is North States by Malka Older. This is the sequel to Infomocracy, which she released last year in 2016. And I really enjoyed that book, and I would very much like to read this book, North States. However, it needs to come out in paperback, because I'm not a fan of hardbacks personally, as you may or may not know. So it will be a lot longer yet. I mean, the hardback's coming out well over a year after the paperback, or the verse, as the case may be. Question 4 is, what are 3 books you want to finish before the end of the year? Now for this, I've chosen J.G. Ballard, The Complete Short Stories, Volume 2. It took me most of September and half of October to read Volume 1. And it will take me just as long to read this. Actually, this is slightly longer than the first one in terms of sheer size. This has about 60 plus short stories in it, like the first volume, and it will take me some time to read it. I know it's gonna, but like the first one, I'm expecting to really enjoy this, because the first was fantastic, frankly. The other books are 2 of them. Books 3 and 4 in the Robot series by Isaac Asimov. I read books 1 and 2 a few months ago, and I had planned to read these 2 books fairly close afterwards, and for some reason that didn't happen. But I don't know, so I will now be reading these fairly soon as well. And then finally, I want to read The Snowman by Joe Nesbo, because I've just watched the film of this that they made. However, this is like the 4th or 5th book in the series, in the whole series. This is a detective series, and I do own the other books in the series, however. So basically, to read this book, I need to read 3 or 4 other books at least, which frankly for me isn't going to be a problem. But hopefully I can get around to it though, because It depends what my mood is, because, you know, I tend to read what I like at that moment, so I might not feel in the mood to read the previous books too quickly, and I need to read them before I get to this. Question 5 is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favourite book of the year? And frankly, this is very easy, and saying yes, there well could be. I mean, obviously I don't plan my reading out whatsoever in advance. I do read a lot of books per month, however. I mean, frankly, at this point I will still probably read 30 plus books this year, so there is a good chance that one or two of them may well be absolutely fantastic, or to be honest there probably will be a few, and that will go in my top 10 or top 15 or whatever, however many list I do at the end of the year, which will be interesting to make. I'm really looking forward to making that list, because it should be interesting, because I really have read some really quite interesting and frankly fantastic books this year. And finally, the last question, question 6, is have you already started making reading plans for 2018? That is very simple. Yes, I have. I'm a very highly organised person by nature, so obviously thinking about plans and what I want to achieve in 2018, I started thinking about that basically at the start of this year, because I tend to think years in advance for myself. Obviously, I tend to try and make sure I leave sort of my idea of plans are just that, the plans. You can't predict the future. Things can change at a moment's notice, and they often do. So I have my plans in place, and then I have to be adaptable on a moment's notice to change everything to something completely different, which is, frankly, the fun of things sometimes. I've got some pretty interesting ideas what I want to achieve next year. I expect I will manage to achieve most of them. Obviously, whether I achieve all of them, I can't say. And indeed, some of the reading type plans are actually like reading travel plans as well. As I mean, one of them you already know, because I'm going to the World Card, and the other plans I've got in mind as well, which I have to work out how and when I'm going to do them, and if I'm able to. So with that said, that is it for this video. So if you've read any of these, then please leave a comment and we can have a conversation. Also, tell me what your answers would be to any of these if you feel like it, and we can have a talk about that as well. I will leave all the links to things that I mentioned in the description box below, as well as my social media links. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.